Hey, welcome to another podcast. I'm your host, Casey Killingsworth. This is my podcast. Right now I'm coming to you live from one of the edit bays here at the Atlas building at CU Boulder. What better thing to do with my podcast than to recommend other podcasts I like to anybody who might be listening. So these are some of my favorite podcasts. You can go ahead and click on the hyperlinks I provided each time I mention one of the podcasts because that takes you to those sites where each of these podcasts is going to be. There's the Cracked podcast. There's the 10-Minute podcast, which is very funny. Of course, there's the Nerdist and Unpopular Opinion. Of course, there's WTF with Mark Maron. There's also Comedy Bang Bang with Scott Aukerman and Reggie Watts. There's also You Had to Be There. It's hosted by Nikki Glazer and Sarah Schaefer. Chelsea Peretti hosts one where you can call in. There's Never Not Funny with Jim Pardo. You Made It Weird with Pete Holmes. And Ding Donger with Matt Bronger. Okay, so that concludes the intro segment to this podcast. And after this brief GarageBand musical break, hopefully we'll have me interviewing some guests. So stay tuned. Okay, and we're back, and we are with my first guest. He's a good friend and co-worker of mine. I've known him for a few years now. His name's Josh Rivera, and you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, Josh?
Well, thanks, Killingsworth. I'd just like to thank Casey for considering me to be in part of this podcast because this sounds like a really cool idea to do, and I'm really excited.
Okay, well, thank you, Josh. It's been a really fun chat with you here.
Oh, sure, Killingsworth. This was a real pleasure. This was really fun to do, and I'm glad we did something together that was a first and turned out to be this fun project. Thank you once again, Killingsworth, for inviting me here and having me as your first guest.
And that's all the time we have.